Hello, I'm Joshua Ross from Job and Josh's History ofs and Reviews, and I'd like to welcome you to our first History of documentary. What is it going to be over, you may be asking yourselves? Well, it'll be over the Hori MiniPad 64. What is the Hori MiniPad 64? Well, it is an upgrade to the original oddly shaped Nintendo 64 controller. But before we get into that, let's look at the history of the company behind making this amazing controller. The Hori company was established in 1969, but they did not join the video game industry until 1983. The same year the Sega SG-1000 and Nintendo Famicom, known as the NES, were released in Japan. This is also the same year of the now famous video game crash of 1983, which nearly annihilated the video game industry as we know it. Thankfully, it didn't, and Hori went on to become one of the leading and earliest known manufacturers of third-party video game accessories. They've made accessories for Xbox One, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, Nintendo DS, Wii, Wii U, and they even make display cases for your Nintendo Wii U amiibos. Who knew? But their most notable video game accessory ever is the Hori MiniPad 64. When the Nintendo 64 launched in 1996, players were amazed by its 64-bit processor. When it came to the controller though, they were left in disdain. Users oftentimes thought that the design of the controller was odd and uncomfortable. They did not like how the D-pad was so far over to the left, and was almost never used or hard to get to. Hori attempted to address this issue late in the console's lifetime by creating a controller that more closely resembles our modern controllers. The first thing you will notice is that instead of having 3 sections divided up, there are only 2 sections. The analog stick has been moved from the bottom to the far left, like in most modern controllers. Meanwhile, the D-pad was moved to where the analog stick originally was, but higher up due to the lack of a 3rd section on the controller. This made things much easier on our hands, and much easier to control when playing Nintendo 64 games. The Hori MiniPad 64 came in a variety of colors, ranging from stock gray all the way to aqua blue. Now, since the controller was released so late in the Nintendo 64's life, it was released only in Japan. This has played a huge role on its online pricing. I've seen them going for $69 to $99 used, depending on condition and color. Whereas new ones, or ones that come with the box, go from $100 to $149 based on condition and color. That is more than a brand new Nintendo 2DS system. Shocking, isn't it? From what I have been able to find out, the controllers are region free. This means that you can play them on a Nintendo 64 console no matter what region it was bought in. It'll play on a Japanese Nintendo 64, a Russian Nintendo 64, a United States Nintendo 64, it doesn't matter, it'll play on it. If you dislike the original layout of the original Nintendo 64 controller, and you have extra cash to shell out, I'd recommend buying the Hori MiniPad 64 controller. You won't regret it. I'm Joshua Ross, and this is the history of the Hori MiniPad 64. I'm signing out.